demolition of structures deemed illegal in Abuja by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has sparked heated debates not only amongst members of the public but also more recently in the Nigerian Senate. Now, if you are one of those who argue that Wike is just doing his job, then be ready to explain or disprove the authenticity of recent documents pointed to by critics allegedly claiming that the FCT Minister is reallocating revoked lands to companies owned by his allies, citing references to companies such as Saravera Limited and ALEED Construction. But if you are one of those who believe that this is some kind of plot by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to grab the lands of innocent Nigerians, then you may also need to be reminded that previous lists threatening the revocation of the land titles of those who fail to pay the FCT ground rent has been observed to contain the names of prominent politicians such as Chief George Akume, who is Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Zahra and Yusuf Buhari, children of former President Muhammad Buhari, Bukola Saraki, former Senate President, Gbajabiamila, who also is Chief of Staff to President Tinubu, and several other Wike allies, including names of past governors, serving ministers under the Tinubu Administration, and more. And what about major companies which have also been affected, including Bola, Julius Berger, and Honeywell Construction, all of which have lost land in the Katampe and Itu areas of the FCT owing to their defaulting. And so while supporters hail the moves as a necessary step to enforce the Abuja master plan, critics continue to refer to it as a brutal exercise that targets the poor and vulnerable. Thus, the issue remains one of the most controversial moves in urban planning in Nigeria, and one that deeply typifies the complexities that comes with the administration of the Nigerian state. But let's begin with the case for the demolitions. The FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has argued that the demolitions are essential to restoring the city's original design, and areas like Lugbe, Nyanya, Dede, and Mabushi, known for their chaotic development, have been particularly targeted. The minister has also insisted that structures built on green areas, water channels, or without proper approval are both illegal and hazardous. For instance, Wike has criticized squatters for taking over government lands and vowed to demolish all such structures regardless of the owner's status. He even warned ambassadors and ministers, stating that whether they are an ambassador or minister, their illegal structure will go down. And in line with Wike's vision for the FCT, supporters believe that this no-nonsense approach will improve security, as many demolished areas allegedly housed criminals in the past and serving as hideouts. Also in Nyanya and Dede, the demolitions are seen as a strategy to reduce vandalism, particularly of rail infrastructure, and to discourage land racketeering. But as it is with most policy implementation, there are many cases against the demolitions. Critics argue that the demolition exercises have disproportionately affected the poor. And one striking example is the destruction of homes in the Ruga settlement, which left long-term residents homeless without any form of compensation or alternative housing. Human rights activists like Deji Adeyanju and other social media critics have also condemned the actions as inhumane, pointing out that many residents have lived in these communities for over 2 decades. But not only that, more controversies have continued to emerge over claims that some revoked lands have been reallocated to high-ranking officials and front companies linked to Wike's allies, with critics mentioning ALEED Construction Limited and Saravera Limited as amongst the companies benefiting from these reallocations, raising concerns about corruption and abuse of power. But then, more issues continue to arise, especially in the form of reactions from affected parties. For instance, the demolition in Life Camp targeting a private estate owned by Polosa Nigeria Limited have recently caused an uproar. Despite claims of paying 10 million naira for a right of occupancy, the company has received a quit notice. This case highlights allegations that due diligence was ignored in the rush to implement Wike's agenda. But that is only a side of the story, as the spokesperson to the FCT Minister has refuted this claim, stating that Polosa Nigeria Limited has earlier breached several agreements and defaulted in payments of ground rent to the tune of over 70 million naira. Thankfully, the Senate has since called for an investigation into these actions, with some lawmakers urging Wike to halt demolitions pending a proper review. And so while some Nigerians applaud Wike's commitment to law and order, others question his motives and methods. The widespread fear of displacement has left many residents anxious about the future of their homes. Meanwhile, calls for President Bola Tinubu to investigate claims of land racketeering under Wike's administration have grown louder. But ultimately, the Abuja demolitions are a test of governance, raising tough questions about balancing the need for urban development with human rights and whether Nigerians are ready for an impartial system of governance. And so, as Wike continues to push forward, is the controversy likely to end soon? Thanks for watching, and if this is your first time on this channel, please make sure to click on the subscribe and notification button for more videos on Nigerian politics and the Nigerian economy.